Hi everyone, my name is John Kendrick. I'm a member of the TCC Culture Affairs Committee. And I'd like to thank all of you for attending this afternoon. The Tuskegee Airmen, as they are known, was the first black pilots in the U.S. Armed Forces. They were trained in Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. The Tuskegee Airmen flew their first combat mission in North Africa on June the 2nd, 1941. Broke the barriers against blacks in aerial combat that the Army had maintained since World War I. Please welcome Officer Oliver Goodall as he tells us the story about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Let me take this off. Where's your mic? I don't talk that much. Good. I can walk around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the introduction was a slight mistake. First mission of the 99th was in 42, not 41. But we did it. Years don't matter. Before I do a lot of talking, I want to show you a DVD about the program from start to finish. It's only 12 minutes, then I'll get up and talk a little bit. I love to talk. They call me the preacher, but I won't show that.
The interesting common fact that surrounded all of their backgrounds was that all of them had wanted to fly.
Of time, more inspiring words written than those that read that all men are created equal. Sadly, for many, these same words proved a hollow promise left to echo in time, resounding as a mockery of an equality that would demand years of struggle, overshadowed by bitter disappointment. Equality was to remain an elusive dream. The dim light of hope never blazed brighter for Black Americans than during an era in American history when they began challenging the discriminatory practices of the armed forces. Key to the demands of major black organizations such as the NAACP, the National Urban League, and others was for the designation of centers where Negroes could be trained for work in all branches of the aviation corps. It was not enough to train pilots alone, but navigators, bombardiers, gunners, radio men, and even mechanics. Under this collective pressure, Congress made concessions by passing Public Law 18. Under its directive, an air school to prepare blacks for military service was authorized. 91 of the 100 young Negro college students enrolled in the civilian pilot training program qualified for civil licenses during 1939 and 1940. In spite of all these facts, the Army Air Corps refused to alter its stand and allow blacks to fly. In 1941, with guidance from the NAACP, a Howard University student named Yancey Williams filed suit against the War Department to compel his admission to an air training center. Almost immediately, the War Department responded by announcing that it would establish an air unit near Tuskegee Institute, Alabama. the 99th Pursuit Squadron. Activated March 21st, 1941. The Fighting 99th began training ground support troops at Chanute Field, Illinois. Eager young black Americans received specialized training in maintenance engineering, armament, and communications. Just a few months later, an inaugural address was given at the Tuskegee Institute, initiating the training of black aviators for the United States Army Air Corps. This hard-fought privilege brought with it a great responsibility. The nation was watching, and the fate of future black military aviation rested in the hands of these intrepid young flyers. In a bold and inspiring departure from the expected, the contract for construction of Tuskegee Army Airfield was awarded to the firm of McKissick & McKissick, headed by a black architect and engineer. In July, construction began on the facility for basic and advanced flying training. The first class for pilots consisted of 12 cadets and 1 military officer, Captain Benjamin O. Davis, Jr. It commenced primary flying training July 19, 1941 at Moulton Field. Soon, young Tuskegee graduates would show the world they could not only fly, but fight. Shortly after graduating in the first class of 1942, Second Lieutenant Charles DeBow was stopped on the street by a white civilian and asked, "You one of those new colored flyers over at Tuskegee?" He proudly answered that he was. "Tell me one thing, what do you boys want to fly for anyhow?" he was asked. Shocked but not surprised, DeBow said he couldn't really think of an adequate answer at the time, but afterward realized the simple elegance of his answer. He was flying for his country. He felt he had a job to do for his country and his race. And just as Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver had proven themselves an educator and scientist, he might prove to someone that Negroes could become good pilots and officers. Armed only with their bravery and determination, fueled by dreams of dignity for others like themselves, Lieutenant DeBow and 4 of his fellow pioneers, Captain Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., Second Lieutenant Lemuel R. Custis, Second Lieutenant George S. Roberts, and Second Lieutenant Mac Ross, became the first graduates paving the way for the other 961 black military aviators who were trained at Tuskegee Army Airfield during World War II. Under the command of Colonel Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., 450 of the graduates served as fighter pilots, attaining dignity and glory in the aerial war over North Africa, Sicily, and Europe. P-40s, P-39s, P-47s, and P-51 type aircraft. The 99th Squadron became the 332nd Fighter Group, which also included the 100th, 301st, and 302nd Fighter Squadrons. Together they flew 15,553 sorties and completed 1,578 missions with the 12th Tactical U.S. Army Air Force and the 15th Strategic U.S. Army Air Force. And with each and every mission, yet another victory was achieved, not just for the nation, but for our people as well.
The interesting common fact that surrounded all of their backgrounds was that all of them had wanted to fly. Well, I started out with these young people back in a black Air Force in Europe in World War II. Performance is the absolute key in combat. To protect the bombers, to prevent them from getting shot down by enemy fighters, the 99th Pursuit Squadron was an expert in dropping bombs and hitting targets and hitting locomotives He was also an expert in aerial combat. The 99th Squadron did one thing at Anzio that no other squadron did. It shot down 16 enemy airplanes.
Yesterday I fulfilled one of my ambitions as a combat pilot. I got one airplane.
This was my country. I wanted a piece of it. I had to fight for it. But I'll be damned if I was going to let some other country come in and take it over.
Though no real plans had been made for their usage, by mid-1943, Negro candidates were being screened to determine their relative aptitude as pilots for multi-engine aircraft, as well as bombardiers and navigators. Class 43J was the first at Tuskegee, with about half of its members training in the multi-engine Beechcraft AT-10, hoping that the bomb group program would actually develop. The first air cadets to train outside Tuskegee were the navigators who graduated at Hondo Field, Texas, February 26, 1944. The 477th Bombardment Group was officially activated January 15, 1944 at Selfridge Field. Although the 477th never entered combat due to the war's end, their struggle for equality and performance as military professionals, along with the magnificent wartime record of the 99th and 332nd, led to a reversal of the U.S. War Department's racial policies. In 1946, Tuskegee Army Airfield closed. Shortly after its closing, the former base commander, Colonel Noel Parrish, in discussing the success of the flying school, said the following: "How good were our pilots? How good is any pilot? Our men were good enough to graduate from any flying school in the country. We made sure of that. And working together, we proved it. We emphasized that a pilot or a man of whatever color, size, or shape is just as good as he proves himself to be. Men and pilots have to be considered as individuals. We have had some of the worst pilots in the world right here, and we have had some of the best. In the first place, they flew and fought as men. They may have had pretty good alibis for being failures if they wanted to use these alibis. Or they may have been proud of their group as the only one like it in the world, as they had a right to be. But when the test came, they had to fly and fight just as men. Americans against a common enemy. Today, there are over 425,000 black Americans serving in the armed forces as an integral part of the defense of this great nation. Their position in the military, the communities, and indeed the world has been attained and preserved through achievement and honor, the direct result of commitment to their ideals and dedication to their dreams.
In the early days at Tuskegee, in addition to the already difficult job of flying, we trained under the additional pressures of segregation, but we had no time for self-pity or despair. We were too busy preparing ourselves for a career of service to our nation. The state of our fully integrated Air Force today is a pretty good indication that we did a good job. But that doesn't mean that the future will be a rose garden, or that there will not be other obstacles to overcome. Freedom must be repurchased by every new generation. When the Tuskegee flying program was offered to America's black youngsters, we were ready. We had prepared ourselves for this opportunity, and when it presented itself, we grabbed it with both hands. Prepare yourself so that when your Tuskegee appears, you will be ready.
Never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind.
Freedom must be repurchased by every new generation. Prepare yourself so that when your Tuskegee appears, you will be ready.
I show that so I won't have to talk so much. Believe me, I could talk all day long about what happened, why, when, where, and all that stuff. But to put it in a nutshell, when you get an educated young person, I don't care what color, rank, or nationality, well developed, the educational wise, you look him in the eye, you say, I don't want you, I don't need you. Go home. That was the biggest joke they ever did. When they started training the first class in July 1941. We graduated in March of 1942. It took them 1 year in a squadron of black fighters together. That's impossible. You can get a fighter squadron together in 3 months. But they was going to make it a token fighter group. They were going to take one and put him in this white squadron, one in that squadron. But when they opened up the school, we flocked to it like ants to honey. When they looked up, we had guys come from all over the United States going to Tuskegee. We had 54 classes, and about 19 months. We were good. The military did us a favor. They trained us, retrained us, overtrained us, undertrained us, and trained us again. We could outfly anybody. But the only thing wrong with it, we didn't have combat experience. The 450 that went overseas and the 99 went overseas in the 340s and was assigned to North Africa, patrol duty, or strafing cars and all that. We saw those pictures of Buster Simmons said he didn't see no kills, nothing. That happened. They tried to disqualify him. The picture will always also show that Bill Davis came back to pick up the 332nd. And he turned the group over to Spanky Roberts, a major at that time. And the 99 moved from North Africa to Sicily. When the 12th Air Force moved. When they got to Sicily, Spanky Roberts said, hey, I want you to go out, kick butt, and take names. Our colonel said he got shot down 17 aircraft. They actually shot down 19. We sent guys to the archives down in Montgomery and any other place where they have histories about Tuskegee Airmen. We find a lot of stuff hidden in boxes. They don't want to be seen or heard of. So out of sight, out of mind, that's what the military was all about. There was 2 phases in this, or 3 phases I should say. The 450 that went overseas, they had the best loss record going. And it kind of gets me under my skin of the 66 men that were lost. We only lost 66 men out of 450. No other group can say that. Because we were good and very good. They said we could outfly everybody because we we're going to let nobody get on our tail and shoot us down. That one picture where that one guy went off, that's very true. But Hollywood kind of glamorized it a little bit. When the 332nd went overseas, they went overseas as a P-39. The 99th joined them. Now we got a bastard group, 4 squadron, never heard of them. So what they did, they deactivated the 302nd. And they had the 99th, 100th, and the 301st. Those are the ones that did the long-range escort mission. One tale is about when they went to Germany. There was a train transport coming down with 100-gallon tanks. We only had 50-gallon tanks. So one of the officers went up about 10 miles, jumped on the train and told them, you have to top this train when you get to a certain point. He had ordered all the mechanics to take all the 50-gallon tanks off of the planes and line them up. He unloaded the 100-gallon tanks, pushed the 50-gallon tanks on the transport. That enabled us to fire from Robertelli, Italy, pick up the transport in France and say come all the way to Germany and come back. Word got out that the great train robbery. We only transferred, we didn't rob them, we only transferred. Anyway, that's the way it began, whatever. In the meantime, when the 332nd left here, we had 4 squadrons of B-25. 4 squadrons. We had the 616th, the 617th, the 618th, the 619th, Bomber Squadron. And we were stationed at Selfridgefield, Michigan. And our commanding officer started this really downgrading of the officers when he decided to push the officers club off limits. And we weren't going to have that. So he got together with General Hunter. Now you got to remember, when the war broke out, all your commanding officers and most of your generals were Southerners. And they took that segregation right from living into the service with them. So here we come, some brass young Americans of color, and demanded our rights. Colonel Selway said, no, I won't have that. So they moved us from Selfridge Field. Sent 2 squadrons to Allenbury, Indiana, 2 squadrons to Gardnerville, Kentucky. Separate us, you know, divide and conquer. You don't know. We used to get up and fly up, meet each other up in the air and talk. We had more conversation in the air than we did on the ground. But anyway, that's the way it is. Then, here comes 2 years later, General MacArthur said he wanted everything in the South Pacific that could carry a bucket of water or throw a brick. So they had to put us back together again. In the meantime, our colonel, as we got to Freemanville, Indiana, decided to segregate an officers club again. And after I had graduated and got my bars, the Constitution said I was an officer and a gentleman. And I should be afforded any facility I go to on any base. And when he declared Officers Club, a beautiful Officers Club, had a golf course, swimming pool, tennis court, off limits, I was the one that said, no, that can't happen here. You got to be losing your mind. So, first night he opened the club, 62 of us got arrested for going in the White Officers Club. We just smiled and went back to officers, like barracks and house arrest. He put in out an order, a written command. I have read this command and I will obey. I will not try to enter the White Officers Club. Or no, Officers Club number 2, that's what he called it. In the meantime, he had taken the NCO Club away from them, redecorated, repainted it, and sent Officers Club number 1. About 2 blocks down. We called it Uncle Tom's Cabin. And we refused to go. But when he put out this order and had us look at it, and I looked at it, I said, I won't sign that, sir. He said, why not? I said, this is another form of segregation. I'll write my own order and let it go at that. You like it or not? I said, okay, write it on. I wrote my own order. Went back to my barracks in the house arrest. 162 black officers got arrested. The War Department, it's the GOD today. The War Department is just the IG now to investigate why all these black officers are being arrested. Luckily, the war in Ukraine ended. And Colonel Davis, his command was coming back to a segregated military. So the War Department decided, well, what we'll do, we'll ship all white personnel home and put Colonel Davis and his command over the 477. Now we have fighters and bombers all together. 477 composite group. That was too much for them. So they deactivated 2 squadrons of B-25, deactivated 1 squadron of the fighters, and we were 477 composite group going to South Pacific. We flew like that for a whole year. So Harry said, well, I'm going to stop this war. He dropped his 2 pills. One on Nagasaki and one on Hiroshima. That stopped all the war. And everybody who was in the Freedom Field Mutiny were put out or sent back to school. I was one of the first ones because I talked too much. You can't be uppity. I can't say what I want to say. And get along. But anyway, they put me out in 47, 46. I went into the reserve, California 20th Air Force Reserve, down in Long Beach, down here, right across on the runway, next to the highway. It was reserve headquarters. I'm the lowest commander officer in the group. So they decided to promote me. Because nothing but colonels and majors and stuff. Everybody's white except 3 of us. 3 specks. And a bottle of milk. But we overlooked it. Because we figured there has to be a change. And when Harry declared the integration military in 1948 with an order in 1981, he told all the commanding officers, like it or not, adhere to it or get out, or take a demotion. He has a lot of them just retired, period. He has some that stayed in and adhered to it. But we lived through it. I tell the youngsters, well, most of you are youngsters to me. Anything under 60 is a youngster. Tell a youngster today, stay in school, get your education. Because education is your foundation for your success. And nobody can stop you. You are your own worst enemy. If you don't get it now, you won't get it after a while. And I tell each one of them, the world out there is cold. They ain't gonna give you nothing but a hard time. So get it, put that computer up there to work. And what they can't get you and what they can't put on your computer. They said, what do you mean computer? I said, well, this invents that.
That's right.
You got some brilliant people. And I tell each youngster, think about it. You're going to run up under more circumstances and obstacles than we ever did with segregation. Because all the technology they're throwing at you today. Whoever heard of tweeters when we would come through? iPods, computers, the calculator. There was no such thing. You ever do math in longhand?
Yeah. Yeah.
But by the time you got through, you had a whole sheet
That's right.
on two questions. Especially in math. I majored in physics. And I had a good time. Because my mother was one of those people, although she was a half-breed, she always said, "Sonny, you go to school or fight?" I said, "Fight who?" She said, "Me." And I knew when that little lady spoke, I jumped. I told her how high. She meant it. I never talked back to my mother. I tried once. We were out doing spring break, or before spring break, on track. My coach would always give us something 5 o'clock and make us run 5 miles. Come back, take a shower, go to school. This morning, I felt frisky. So I took a shower, got to the table, chairs turned like this, and I smelled the table like that. That's the table. And Mother said, "Sonny, turn the chair around." I said, "Oh, Mom, that's all I got out." I picked myself up, turned the chair around, got out, and came out back. I want to go watch that woman. She was mean. But you crossed her. She lived to be 97. I just hope I can live past her. I got about 10 more years to go. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's the bare facts. I'm glad to be who I am. I'm glad to be American. And I love everybody. I tell all the youngsters, do one thing that my mother did to me. She set me down when I was 14 after the incident. She opened her Bible to 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter.
Yes.
She said, "Now, Sonny, you read that every morning and every night." I started living by it. I have. You'll never go wrong. Love makes the world go round. Thank you.
I have a question for you. The Tuskegee Airmen have quite a history in the European theater, but very little in the Pacific. Why is that?
They didn't want us.
In the Pacific?
They didn't want us in Europe.
Well, I know that, yeah.
They didn't want us. But when Max said he wanted everybody over there, because see, he was on his way to Japan. And he was island hopping. Mac was a general. He believed in the war. And when he said something about killing people, he could kill anybody who was his enemy. And he was like that. But, you know, he and Harry didn't get along.
Yeah, they should not. Yeah.
Because Harry's the one that fired him.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
The triple nickels.
That was the Jumpers. Triple nickel. Parachute board. I wasn't going to jump out of no plane. No way. They always ask me, did you ever bail out? I said, no way. Jump out of a good plane? No. Yes, ma'am.
How much are your books?
25. How many do you want?
This one?
Okay. Oh, by the way, I have that one that I have Mutiny and Fever Feel. I didn't bring it out. I didn't think anybody want to read it, but that junk. The airports don't want to be told about it. It's in my car. I have those.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think some of us know a little bit about Benjamin O. Davis, Sr. and Jr., but we don't know much about James. Can you talk about him a little bit more?
Captain James was a pilot. See, when the war broke out, he was going to Tuskegee. He had instructor at primary when he first started out. And then when his number came, I'll give you an autograph when I get through. When his number came up, he joined the cadets in basic in 43G. But he had trained a lot of these guys to fly. You see, most of our primary instructors were black. All our teachers were black, except one. I don't know what you call it. We had a physics class. Here comes a 17-year-old, walks in the class. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Okay. This can't be an instructor. And his master's degree. No, it's PhD in physics. At 17. Wow. He worked for JPL until 2 years ago until he retired. He lives in Walnut today. But when we saw him, he looked like any schoolboy. And you want to say, you got to be a joke. But when he starts throwing those problems that shit, if you didn't know it, you were in trouble.
How many are there of you left?
Between the service people and everybody else, there's about 400 of them still alive. We're losing them. Yeah. We lost 2 in the last month. And we lost the only recognized ace, the Archer, 2.5 weeks ago. Yes, sir.
The squadron that went to Italy. The squadron that went to Italy. Did they have anything to do with that movie that came out about 2 years ago, Tuskegee Airmen? You know where they were supposed to have?
Just played it.
That was up there. It came out in 1996.
96.
We critiqued it in our convention in Atlanta in 96 for the public even saw it. We said it's good, but you people just goofed up. Hollywoodize it too much. Two things we know that didn't happen. Mrs. Roosevelt didn't fly with a cadet. She flew with Chief Patterson before Tuskegee was ever there. And no cadet ever killed himself, which fictitious says he died in nothing, that didn't happen. Well, we asked him why. He said for public consumption. It needs something drastic to show. I said, oh, you got to be kidding. Listen, just enough. Yes, ma'am.
What was your true feeling or opinion about the G.I. Joe Tuskegee Airmen doll? I have two of them actually, but I wanted to know.
They did a good job. You know, like everybody else, they've got to make money. I have 4. I won't turn them loose right there. They're really valuable. I don't know what you paid for yours.
I got it at the convention in Indianapolis.
Oh. Mine's worth $100 a piece. More.
I think G.I. Joe was a World War II G.I. I don't know. That's something I don't know.
Yes, sir.
And I think it was 2009 or 2008. I'm not sure. You were invited to Washington for an award. What award was that?
That's 207. We received the Congressional Gold Medal. It's in the Smithsonian. All the DODs got a replica. I have one in the trunk. I won't bring it out because somebody tries to steal it, I can shoot him. They said, what? I said, that's mine. The government gave me that. Yes, ma'am.
Were you originally from Tuskegee, or were you just there for the trip? Were you originally from Tuskegee?
No, I'm from California.
California?
We're from all over the United States.
I heard you say that.
Yeah.
But majority of them, they were just training there, right? Is that what happened?
We got the bug. Once we heard that the lads had graduated, 5 out of 13 survived. And I often wonder, how could college graduate wash out a program like that? We had Bill Davis, which was the graduate of West Point. They didn't send him to Tuskegee. They sent him to the cavalry, because he had requested pilot training. So they sent him to the cavalry. The Buffalo Soldier Cavalry. We had a Buffalo Soldier that died last year. Was his aide. Roberts had graduated from Virginia University. I'm trying to think of those two. One was an officer, police officer, that had graduated from college. I forget the other two. But see, they were all educated people. They wouldn't let you in there unless you were college graduated in the beginning. Then they started lowering it. I got in after my second year at college. They called me in. I said, yeah, I haven't finished my education. He said, oh, forget it. Come in the service. The first thing he said, you want to go to the Navy? I said, no, I can't swim that much. You going to buy 2? Thank you, sir. I'll sign it for you when I get through. And then they said, you want to put, well, how about the Marines? I said, no, I can't fight nobody. I said, I want to go to Tuskegee. It took me 3 examinations to get there. First time it was, I got 94 on my first exam. Second time I got 98 on my exam. Third time I got 100. I was in Biloxi, Mississippi at that time. We had psychological, psychomotor, and chess. Then I went to Tuskegee. You know, trial and error. When you got good sense, educational-wise, and public-wise, nothing compares to the efforts you're going to put into everything you start. And believe me, that gets you through. When I went to Tuskegee, my mother told me, she said, "Sonny, follow orders and keep your mouth shut." Best thing she ever said to me. So I didn't speak out until after I got my bars. And I was constitutionally correct.
What was your final rank, sir? What was your final rank?
Second lieutenant.
Second lieutenant?
They didn't promote me.
Didn't? Okay.
I was
You didn't get your
see, I didn't get a discharge. I got released from active service. When Korea broke out, I tried to get back in. They looked at my release from active duty. They said, "You look fine, but uh-oh." On the bottom of it said, "Actual troublemaker." They said, "We can't use you."
Oh?
That's it. That's the way it goes. Win some and lose some. Thank you.